might think that getting into the IT field is impossible without a computer science degree, but Tech Coach Ralph is here to prove you wrong. Get ready for some jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into this lucrative industry. Listen up, tech enthusiasts! Are you ready to break through into the IT field, but feel like you need a computer science degree to make it happen? Think again! Tech Coach Ralph has some exclusive, mind-blowing secrets to share with you. Get ready to be blown away by his jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into the tech industry without a computer science degree. So get your notepad ready, because Tech Coach Ralph is going to change your life forever. Buckle up, because you're about to embark on a journey to success in the IT field.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Today is Monday, March 4th, 2024. We are just zooming through the year. It's like just yesterday. It's like just 4 days ago we started March, and now look at this. Here we are today. If you do not know who I am your host of the channel and of the morning show, the Coffee and Kata show. I am Tech Coach Ralph, where we are engineered to win. Today's show, we're going to be, as we normally do, get into our news stories as well as get into a little bit of our coding, continue with our test and start looking into implementing or fixing some bugs and implementing some new features. All right. So that is the plan for today. Let's go ahead and get started with that. So let's jump right into our news. By the way, we had a great show yesterday where we were working on implementing MongoDB via Terraform. We're able to do it. MongoDB at Atlas. I did tear it down. It had created the servers and everything with AWS, but we were going to use the serverless technology, so we don't end up paying a bunch of money a month for something that it's barely going to get any traffic to get started with. So that is the plan. Definitely tune in on Sundays for the Terraform, for us working through Terraform, and then we have our episode of Candid Conversations coming out today at noon Eastern time, and then tomorrow night we're going live to do Q&A. So want to see you there in all the spots. Definitely somewhere for you to plug in to get this knowledge, to get this work. All right. So let's jump into our news. Let's not waste any time. Let's jump into our news because we want to spend as much time as possible working on our code. Okay. So let's do it. Let's put our timer up. And we're gonna keep it to 5 minutes, even though we normally go a little bit over, but we don't want to make it go higher and then we end up spending more and more time, right? So I don't know if you've ever been in meetings and you say, okay, this section of the meeting is going to be for like 5 minutes. And then you end up going for like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. So instead of saying 15 minutes and then you keep going over, I say, let's go with 5. And then if we end up at 7, 8, then it is what it is. All right. So let's just jump right into it. Let's put our 5 minutes on the clock and let's go. All right. The first news article for today is Fitch downgrades NYCB to junk. NYCB is New York Community Bank. It's like New York just keeps on taking L's. It's like they take so many L's that they have to go and they have to steal the money and the property of people who have built New York to what it is today so that they can continue to make it. But anyways, let's read. Fitch Ratings downgraded New York Community Bank Corp to junk. Total junk. All right. One day after the regional lender said it has found material weaknesses in its internal controls. Fitch said the decision followed a review of NYCB's risk profile, noting its concentrated exposure to commercial real estate. The news sent NYCB shares down 26% on Friday, right? You know what? I don't even have my sound on, do I? All right, hold on. Let's start it over. Let's do it the right way. Okay, let's do it the right way. So we're gonna do here, and we're gonna go to here. Let's just start. You know what? I'm just gonna reset the whole timer because we want to have some fun with this story. Okay, let's have some fun with this story. So Fitch Ratings downgraded New York's Community Bank Corp to junk. There we go. One day after the regional lender said it had found material weakness in its internal controls. Fitch said the decision followed a review of NYCB's risk profile, noting its concentrated exposure to commercial real estate. The news sent NYCB's shares down 26% on Friday. Sucks. Sucks for NYCB. The bank has also named Alejandro Dinello its new president and CEO. Hopefully, Mr. Dinello can help fix these terrible financial troubles. NYCB's financial health has been in question in recent months due in part to its commercial real estate holdings, raising concerns about another regional bank crisis. NYCB has struggled since absorbing their assets of failed lender Bank Signature and an earlier merger with Flagstar Bank, reports the Wall Street Journal. Dineo replaces Thomas Kanjemi, who stepped down from those roles but will remain on the board. All right. And let's just get a quick recap of what's going on at NYCB's Community Bank. Catching up with New York Community Bank, Q4 losses 2.4 billion, worse than previously mentioned. Oh my God. So it's not even only 2.4 billion loss. It's 2.4 billion worse than what was previously mentioned. They fired the CEO and related board member. Material weaknesses were found in the internal control, like we just read. Bringing back some FDIC insurance info. NYCB deposited its deposits are FDIC insured, meaning you have 250K coverage per account holder, per account type, per bank. All right, so some safety measures involved. For those unaware, that means if you and your spouse share a joint checking account, you are each covered for 250K on that account. Also, if you each have your own separate savings account at the same bank, each of those accounts are covered to 250K. I didn't know that, so that's pretty interesting, right? So a married couple with a joint bank account and one separate savings account at the same bank can be covered to $1 million. If you do that again, replicate at another bank, you're covered for $2 million, right? By the FDIC. All right. So that's some good information about the FDIC. All right, let's jump into our next story. And we always seem to come back to Cruise, right? So Cruise valuation drops by half. Oh my goodness, they're just taking L's all over the place. In the latest blow, employees of General Motors Cruise learned that the internal share price of the self-driving car unit has fallen by half. A Cruise executive said the share price has been calculated by a third party at $11.80, down from $24.27 in the latest quarter, according to Reuters, which cited an email from Chief Administrative Officer Craig Glidden. Cruise was readying to launch self-driving taxis in a dozen cities until one of its vehicles severely injured a pedestrian in October. Let's not forget, I always have to remind you that the pedestrian that was injured was also hit by a hit-and-run driver and knocked in front of the Cruise self-driving car. And then the Cruise self-driving car wasn't too sure what to do, wasn't that sophisticated yet, and just dragged the person a little bit. All right. It still does not. It's not an excuse, but it is just explaining what happened. All right. It says the accident led California to suspend its operating permit and the company to halt testing on public roads. Right. So sorry to hear that for Cruise, but here we are. And then we have next story: millennials stand to inherit $90 trillion. All right. Let's see how that's going because I don't know where this money's coming from, but some millennials might have trouble paying rents and student loans, but that could change dramatically within the next 20 years. They're set to inherit $90 trillion in assets from the silent generation and baby boomers to become the wealthiest generation ever. Okay, let's see where this is going. But of course, there is a catch. The finding from Knight Frank's wealth report expect seismic changes in how the wealth is used, given that millennials have more ways to grow wealth now, and they're more focused on issues such as climate change and reducing consumption. I don't know what this article is talking about, to be honest with you. Anyways, We shall see if that's the case within the next 20 years. If us millennials are going to inherit $90 trillion, I don't recall the silent generation or the baby boomers in any better financial situation, but apparently we are going to be getting a bunch of their money once they move on. So we shall see. All right. Last story for this Monday morning. I always like to do the numbers to watch this week. So the numbers to watch this week. The US labor market will be in the spotlight this week as the government releases key data, including the unemployment report for February. Payrolls likely rose by 188,000, according to an investment.com forecast, after unexpectedly surging by 353,000 in January. While forecasts in recent months have been for a moderation in jobs growth, the labor market has shown resilience even in the face of the highest interest rates in 22 years. The Federal Reserve said it's looking for some softening in the market as well as signs of continued disinflation before it will lower borrowing costs. So, upcoming releases, we have Tuesday, March 5th, the Institute for Supply Management will release its monthly purchasing manager index, which tracks if the non manufacturing sector is expanding. Wednesday, March 6th, we have the Bureau of Labor Statistics will release the job openings and labor turnover survey for January, which measures job vacancies across industries. Fed Chair Jerome Powell will testify on the economic outlook and recent monetary policy actions before Congress Joint Economics Committee in Washington, D.C. And then on Thursday, March 7th, the Department of Labor will release initial jobless claims for the previous week. The report, a proxy for layoffs, tracks the number of people filing for unemployment benefits. And lastly, on Friday, March 8th, the Bureau of Labor Statistics will release the February jobs report. The monthly release tracks the unemployment rate and how many jobs were added to the economy. All right. So that is our news stories for today. Hopefully, I always love to do the numbers to look for this week on Monday so that we can be aware of what's happening around us. All right. So let's go back to full screen and let's check the chat. We have Wolf Ramos in the chat. Shout out to Wolf. Welcome to the show.
I appreciate you.
Says happy Monday, Ralph. Happy Monday to you as well, Ramos. Thank you so much for being here. You are so much appreciated. It is great to hear from you and to talk to a new friendly face. So welcome to the show. And if there's any question I can answer for you, do not hesitate to ask. I will be more than willing to answer any questions you might have. All right. So let's move on to the next part of the show. Let's throw up a 30 minutes on the clock. Do I even have a 30 minutes on the clock? Yes, I do. We have it right about here. Let's do it. Let's do some 30 minutes of working on. We're going to continue working on the time cost calculator. And we have, let's shift over to our screen that has it. And if you haven't done so yet, like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can know every single time that we go live. And let's do it. All right, so here we are. Trying to find my mouse here. Okay, there we go. So let's do this. All right, so where we left off on Friday, we wrote our test for the state changes when it returns a non-profitable activity. So when it says money spent and the amount of money that was spent. We got that. What else did we have to do? So we do want to implement a feature for when someone tries to type in a decimal on the, if I can find it. Let's see. When someone tries to type in a decimal on this total annual income field, we do want to put some type of alert notification that says, hey, this field only takes in whole numbers, right? No decimal places. We'll figure out the error message at some point. But so that's something that we are going to do. We have to do error message when someone tries to enter a decimal. And what else do we have? Large amounts on. So we have to test large amounts on all field because we're getting some reports of the app crashing. So let me do this, right? Let me do this. Let me go ahead and open the app. And because I don't know if I'll be able to see that in the. I need to get a way to share the phone screen. Let's see. All right. So if I type in, because I know the report I got was from like iPhone, but let's see if it said something about if we do. You know what? Let's look at our backlog because I created a defect for it on the backlog. So I just have to try it out for myself. Let's go to the right project. So let's go to. I turn this project into a Kanban project because I'm pretty much the only one working on it. So there's no like sprints and stuff like that. But there was app crashes when entering large amounts into in all the fields. Right. So I wanted to try that out. This is said all the fields, and this one said limit to 31 billion in the income field. So these are some of the features that we do have to implement at some point. But I do want to see about the large amount. So I'm not sure if this is only in iOS or in Android. So let's see if it's gonna crash, right? So I have it on my phone here. I'll figure out a way to share the screen, but let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well, it's not crashing for me, but the numbers do stop updating at some point. I don't know if you can see it. Well, I have to go to full screen. Let's see here. Not sure if we'll be able to show this. Well, can't see it. But at some point the numbers do stop updating, but I'm able to like continue adding a huge value. I'm not getting it to crash. Let me see if I add big numbers in all the fields, what's gonna happen. So on the time cost, it so it might be on iOS that the crash is happening. I mean, either way, it's unrealistic to be putting all these numbers anyways, but which might be causing it to crash on iOS. So what I'm gonna do, so what we can do together, right? Let's write out this defect real quick, so that way you have so you have some insight on writing defects, right? So let's say summary. When entering large numbers. So, because I didn't identify this defect, someone reported to me. I think they were in iOS when they reported to me. But let's say expected results. App does not crash. So I'm just writing out the expected results and the actual results right now. Let's say all right, and we can try it on a iPhone. I have one behind me that I can try it out on. And let's say steps to reproduce. Open the app, enter large amount, or keep entering zeros at the end. Because even if the app doesn't crash, it's still a bad user experience to be able to enter all those numbers. Like, and they're very unrealistic, anyways. So that's why we are still like we're gonna make this change, and we do have to try it on iOS. And if you're not familiar with Jira, it is like one of the most important tools for you to get familiar with. As 9 times out of 10, 99 times out of 100, this is the tool that you'll be using in the workplace. So if you're looking to get into tech, you definitely want to get familiar with Jira. If you're looking to get into QA, you definitely want to get familiar with this format of writing defect reports, because they're going to be in Jira. They're going to be right here as a defect. And let me get the iPhone real quick. So sorry about that. So I'm trying it on the iPhone, not replicating a crash yet. But still a bad user experience nonetheless. I mean, I don't know. I wish the person reported this would have said like what was the large amount that was entered so we can get a way to replicate the crash. But at the same time, it's not that serious because it's it's still a bad experience, right? I don't know if you guys won't be able to see it. But so it's something to fix. Like I'm not replicating the crash, but it's still something that we want to get addressed because adding all those numbers doesn't make any sense, right? Doesn't crash on Android or iPhone. So, but I'm gonna leave it as is because that was what was reported. Who knows? Maybe we'll see it happen at some point. Could also be like their device. I don't think that's what the case would be for the device not to have enough memory. But anyways, so here we are. Right, we have our bug updated. But I do want to get that bug resolved. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to move this bug in development. Actually, no. Let's see. What do I want? Yeah, let's do that one. We're gonna limit the field, right? So what we want to do is let's do some research. Let's do some research. Let's do before we do that though, before we even do the research, we're gonna write our test, right? So we're gonna come over here, we're gonna start writing our test, right? And then we'll figure out how to do it as we write our test. So we're gonna say test widget. Let me get this started. Test widgets. And this description should be limit the amount of to how much should we limit the total income to? Let's go to I think our suggestion was 31 billion. So let's go with that. And then tester async. Close that out over there. All right. So now we're gonna say now what's the best way to do this? Should we say if you try to enter more than 31 billion, then we get an error message or we just don't allow it? I'd say the most informative way would be to do like an error message if someone's trying to do more than $31 billion, right? That's what I would think. So let's find out. Let's find out. All right. So and then we can always modify it in the future, right? So let's say when all right. So we're gonna start with this one right here. So 31 billion here is 3. So I'm just gonna write it out like this first. And I'll take it off. And let's do this is 31 billion. Let's do 999. And I think we can do it like this. Can we? Let me see. Nope, we can't. I remember there was a time we could do it like that, but whatever. All right, so let's go with 31 billion 999 999 million 31 billion 999 million $999,999. All right. So we have that. And there goes that. And then we're going to take it's gonna pump this as well. Just pump it up. All right. Let's go and pump that. And let's go and take this one right here. So actually, this should be This should be 41 or 32 actually. If the limit is 31,99999, then we should be testing it against 32 billion. And once you enter 32 billion, you should get an error at that point. All right. Let's see. We have that. And we can technically use like the same stuff over here. But when we do that, at this point, that's when we want this error message to pop up to tell us that let's go to this first error message over. The first is that we did. Validate yearly income doesn't exceed decimals. Changes for hourly. Okay, so we want to take. Let's take this one. Actually, I'm just gonna take all of these and then I'm gonna delete what I don't need. Let's get rid of these for now. Let's get rid of these for now. So if we run this currently, it's going to fail because we don't know the exact number. But we don't really care about this part because our expectation is that we should be getting a error message pop up. And once we run this, then we'll figure out how we're going to validate this error message. So the test is running. While it's running, we get a sip of coffee. All right. So at 32 billion, if you were to make 32 billion annually, your hour return will be worth $3,652,000, right? But that's not what we're looking to validate here, right? So what we want to validate is what we're gonna do. We are going to comment this part out. Oops. This part out and this part out, right? And now we're gonna start writing what our expectations are. We're gonna say, okay, so var, let's say equals find dot by key, and we're gonna say we'll name this test key yearly income error input error. Actually, this has to be const key, and it's gonna be dot evaluate single widget, and I'm not really sure what it's gonna be as. Let's just say as text right now, right? So we have that, but it's not going to find it because it doesn't exist. So let's run it just so we can see it fail in a different way. It's going to be failing. And it's going to say that it can't find that test key, which is expected. No element, all right? Perfect. So what we want to do is okay. So first thing, let's write some logic real quick. Let's go to this. Let's go to here. Let's see, test key. All right. So I think we want this logic to go right about here. All right. So if the somewhere in here, we're gonna say so before even the set state, right? We're gonna want to say if the total income is so user yearly income, right? If this user income is greater than 31,99999, all the nines, then we are going to do an error message. And if it's not, then we're gonna do here, right? So let's try that out real quick, right? So let's go to in here. Yearly income is greater than 31,123,123,123. We're gonna say, if that's the case, we're gonna say else we're going to do this. All right, so and let's do that. So if there's an if the total user yearly income is greater than um, this number right here, then we are going to print this error message. If it's not, then we're going to set we're going to do a set state, which we can we'll end up doing something similar, but right now we're just seeing if the logic is correct. All right, so let's go back up here, and we should be looking for a print saying error message should be returned. Whatever. The error message doesn't matter right now. I mean, it's still gonna fail because of we don't have this key, but what we really want to see right now is if we get this error message anywhere. Do we get the error message? I think we should. Yeah, there we go. So there goes the error message, right? So after the error message, then it went to it couldn't find the state, which is fine. This is what we want, right? So that means we're gonna need to. So I'm gonna say all right, so I have a to-do in here to like figure out how we're gonna do that. So let's start. Let's do a little bit of research, and then we shall come back to it. Let's go to Flutter. All right, so I did a search for an alert dialog. Let's see how it looks, right? Let's see, show dialog. I have a suspicion of what might happen as well, but let's do. And I would hope like it doesn't allow them to put in a bunch of numbers, but we can definitely we can figure that out. So let's see. Let's take a look at this real quick.
Does your app have a critical junction where users need to make an important decision? Do you want to alert someone about something, or maybe get their input? Try using an alert dialog. Depending on your preferred design, you can either use an alert dialog for Material or Cupertino alert dialog for iOS. At their most basic, dialogs are pop-ups with some content and some buttons. Right up top is the title, followed by the main content. Usually this is text, but it could also be an animated image or anything you want. It should be clear to users what to do about the alert, so specify how they can respond to it with buttons passed to the actions parameter. If you're in a material world, alert dialog gives you additional properties. Like a card, you can change the elevation of the dialog, as well as the background color. And if you really want to get fancy, you can modify the shape of your dialog with a shape parameter. Cupertino alert dialog and alert dialog pair with helper methods show Cupertino dialog and show dialog.
Let's see if there's anything for errors. And we're going to wrap it up in just a moment. Do this one. I like the alert dialog. So what we're going to do on Wednesday, we are going to continue what we're doing. We're going to do it in a test-driven development way. How we started writing our story, or started writing our test, and then we said, okay, our test is still failing, but we said, all right, let's print out an error message so we can have an idea of where this should go. So if the amount entered is higher than 31 billion or 31 billion 9999, all the way nines, right? And then we are going to be entering a like the display, the alert display should pop up, and we can do probably this one will be just fine. And we just have to figure out how to plug it in. But basically, on this screen, it'll be if it displays, then we're going to have it show somehow. Like that's part of part of development. We're gonna have to figure out how to get that to display, but that's not gonna be a big deal for us, But it's gonna be somewhere in here that it displays. Like this is what's gonna be triggering it over here. This if it's move this to right there. That's where we're gonna want it to go because we will eventually get rid of this right here. Eventually. And then right here is where that alert should go. How we're gonna do it, we're not entirely sure yet. But what I'm suspecting is, oh, you can't see it. So I just put in here is like we're gonna remove this print statement eventually, and right here is where the code is gonna go for triggering the alert. What I'm suspecting is that we're going to create the widget outside of here. And when it gets triggered, it's gonna say, okay, load up this widget right in here, and then you dismiss it and you go back to here. Yeah, because the thing is, we could limit it to like you just aren't able to type more, but then it would be weird, right? It would definitely be weird. So we don't want to do that. So and let's say they start at like 32 or 33, right? 33 billion, and they just keep like putting zeros. We want some type of notification to let them know that, hey, this isn't gonna work the way that you want it to work, and this is the limit that we've put on it. So, and that's why the alert is gonna be right now in my idea the best way to approach it. All right. So, so that's our plan for Wednesday. Like I said yesterday's show, I have to figure out what's going to happen on Fridays because a schedule changed a little bit. So so right now Friday, let's take it as there is no show, but I might end up doing it in nighttime or whatever. We will figure it out, right? We shall figure it out, and because we do not miss. All right. So let's go back to our full screen, and that is our plan for Wednesday. We're gonna get this alert thing added on Wednesday and go from there. Okay. So with that being said, thank you so much for tuning in on this beautiful Monday morning. I hope that everyone has a wonderful and amazing week. And we're going to get to work. Like I said, we have Candid Conversations at noon today. Definitely want to tune in for that. We have Q&A tomorrow night. And then we're going to be live again Wednesday morning. Thursday night, we're going to continue working on the free mind recovery, which I was talking to Calculus Coder about that yesterday. He has some big plans for it. Going to continue working on the QA, on writing the automated tests for that. And, we're going to go through our week. All right. So with that being said, if you haven't done so yet, do me a big, big favor. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can know every time that we go live. If you are in need of one-on-one technical coaching, go over to www.techcoachralph.dev where you can sign up for a tech coaching plan as well as access to exclusive content to help you level up your career. All right. That being said, I am going to get out of here, going to do a few things before I get to work. So thank you so much for tuning in. Appreciate you all. Have a wonderful and blessed day.
You might think that getting into the IT field is impossible without a computer science degree, but Tech Coach Ralph is here to prove you wrong. Get ready for some jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into this lucrative industry. Listen up, tech enthusiasts! Are you ready to break through into the IT field, but feel like you need a computer science degree to make it happen? Think again. Tech Coach Ralph has some exclusive, mind-blowing secrets to share with you. Get ready to be blown away by his jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into the tech industry without a computer science degree. So get your notepad ready, because Tech Coach Ralph is going to change your life forever. Buckle up, because you're about to embark on a journey to success in the IT field.